Hey guys, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we're talking with Francis Arevalo. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good today. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's a nice day out here. I'm based in Ottawa, and we actually got some nice weather starting to happen, so that's fun.
Love it. Yeah, here too. I just came in from a walk actually. So this is like glad to connect on the sunshine vibe.
Yeah, it's nice to actually see some stuff. I could take the dogs out finally and see some grass a little bit.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
So we're here to talk a bit about your music, a bit about what you're up to these days. But for new listeners and new people who are coming for first time to see you, you want to give a little intro about yourself?
Yeah, yeah. Artist, producer, rapper, and I manage other artists as well with my company Uwido.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
How did you get into music?
By way of just loving music, man. Like I fell in love with some records early on and I'm like, I want to do that too. It was like I think early on, it was like hearing Bebot on Monkey Business on Black Eyed Peas record, just being like, oh, someone is rapping in Tagalog on this track. And I'm like, oh, maybe I could do that too. But definitely later on, it was like, falling in love with CDs, listening on my Walkman, walking around class, listening to like Jay-Z, Lupe Fiasco, Shad, Common, and just falling in love with like lyricism. I love language, I love wordplay, and just hearing people do it at such a high level on music that sounded amazing. I was like, that's my way in. Like I just love it, and I want to see if I can do it too.
Yeah, some of your stuff. I got a kind of a common vibe from you, or even like a most def, like the way you structure your tracks and the way you kind of go with your flow.
Mm.
It gave me that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean those are high compliments for references for sure.
Mhm. And I'm a guy of hip hop and all that stuff. You just don't see some of that lyricism out there these days. It's more just
Mm.
the beats and trap stuff, and it's just not the same as it used to be in the old days.
Mm. Man, I'm just like I fell in love with a kind or like a palette of hip hop, and I'm like, that's what I want to keep moving forward. Um, I wanna make what I fell in love with, basically.
Yeah, and that makes sense because that's what hit you the most at that point.
100%, 100%.
So how would you describe your songwriting process? Like how or your track process? How do you put together a piece?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it starts with the lyrics, sometimes it starts with sometimes it's just the piano, sometimes it's the drums first. A lot of the lyrics that I write come from personal experience or personal revelation. And so normally I'm not like a write every day, or like I really don't have like a writing practice per se
Okay.
that's like regular, but I think it's more like I just live my life, have conversations with my friends and my community and my family, and go from there. And whatever gems come from those conversations is what ends up making in the lyrics.
Do you have trouble like balancing putting too much of yourself into some music and trying to keep a little bit back, or do you
Mm.
just throw it all in there and see what happens?
Nah, man, it's whatever. It's like I will put as much as it feels good to put in those songs, and usually it's a lot. And
Yeah.
yeah, I have some songs that maybe there are some songs that maybe are like less personal storytelling and more like the general universal themes I've gotten from them for sure. But I definitely have songs that are like, no, this is about specific stories. And that'll come out at some other time. But that's there's a spectrum of stuff, and I feel like there isn't really a filter when I think of songwriting, because to me at the end of the day it's a method of expression before it is a product. And I'm just like, I just want to say my stories.
Yeah, for sure. Do you get creative blocks when you're putting like you have a thought and you're like, oh man, this will make a good track, and then just can't flush it out?
Oh yeah, no, things definitely take time. There are some songs for sure that take a really short amount of time. They can happen in like the span of a studio session, but most of my songs like take days, weeks, months, sometimes years, because I just want to get it right. And sometimes you can't force an idea, and you can't speed it up. Sometimes you just have to follow the pace of that idea. Sometimes.
Is there something that you do to shake the cobwebs loose in the brain if something happens? Like you got something you go for a run or something like that?
Yeah, I go for long walks. I'm not much of a runner, but I am a long walker, and sleeping, if I'm being real, like long walks paired with a good sleep. I feel like it just like crystallizes some thoughts in different ways that when
Mhm.
I wake up the next day, I end up with like the next thought related to the previous idea. It like it helps ideas grow when I can mind wander on long walks, and then like get some good rest, consolidate those new thoughts into like a new idea the next day.
Yeah, that's my one problem is I don't sleep enough, I think. I usually run on like 5 hours of sleep a day and that's
Ah,
it.
dang.
I'm pretty rough that way.
Hey, kudos too. Like that's a that's a skill in itself. I feel like I crash like if I don't get like 6 hours of sleep, like I'm a zombie the next day. So
I can usually function on about 3 and then I can do a whole day's worth of whatever. But then the end of the night type of thing when I'm ready to go, I'm out like a light.
no, that's impressive. But yeah, for me, it's like, yeah, if I want to keep my head right and like just keep the ideas evolving into the next idea, like sleep is a key part for me.
Yeah, I think for me it's I'm in a state of shambles, so it's like Bruce Banner said in Iron and the Avengers there, he's always angry. So he's always able to control
Uh,
his stuff. But yeah,
word.
it's a different thing. You know, you're a creative person, so you gotta work whatever works with you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Now, you're a hip hop guy. What do you think of the hip hop landscape these days?
Oh man, there's literally so much I can't keep up. Like, like there's so much music, so much talent. I just speaking to like the landscape here in Vancouver, like, man, there's so much just raw talent, like so good. And like I I think when people come here, they don't know that there's like a burgeoning or just like deep rooted scene here too
Mm-hmm.
of like of MCs of and not just rappers, but like dancers and like break dancers and like beat makers and beatboxers. Like there's culture out here like that's robust and like lush. And I think what I can't wait for is like when people that aren't yet like in tune with what's going on out in Vancouver, they like realize what's going on in Vancouver and they're like, oh shoot, we should probably pay some more attention over there.
Yeah, like I don't get enough chances to chat with people from Vancouver being
Mm,
based in Ottawa. So I love hearing that stuff. And you know, I know a few people out on that end of
mm.
Canada and I hear some small things, but just not enough. There's always that culture that's there that you just don't see.
No, like yeah, like it's inspiring, honestly. Like I love the people that I've come up with. I'm loving the and also like I'm 32, so like I'm like a bit older than like some of the people that are that doing their thing. I do think I'm young still, but like I'm a bit further along than say like this. There's already like one or two generations coming up that are after me, and like it's just inspiring to hear like what people are doing with their rhymes and like cultivating their specific sound, and also just there's a real big like live band element to like the music out here.
Okay.
And that's been really cool to see the way people are collaborating with musicians and like it's like DJ and live set, you know? It's just so inspiring out here, man.
Nice. How do you work with collaborations? You got a lot of stuff going on with different people or
Yeah. As far as the live set, sometimes I perform solo even like it's just me and like a SP 404 pad, but like usually it's me and the DJ. But it can get as big as like six piece maybe.
okay.
Yeah, me, DJ, bass, drums, keys, vocalist. Sometimes there's a trumpet player.
Oh,
But I
nice.
just yeah, I love that. I love that full sound. And that's my favorite way to be. And then as far as production, yeah, I collaborate with so many people in the community, just because I love it. Like people can take things further or in different directions than I can on my own, and I just love what people can bring to the table in terms of their own spice, their own sauce to the meal.
Yeah, exactly. And nowadays we're in a digital age, so there's so much technology out there that it's able to learn it all. So having that collab stuff is always a bonus.
No, for real. Like it's nothing hits the same way that like an amazing collaboration does. It just lights me up.
Yeah, and I imagine in your age range, you probably experienced a little bit of the old school stuff without the digital. So how are
Mm.
you merging the two in your life and your music?
Yeah, I mean, like when I first started, like my entry into making music definitely wasn't beat making even. It was just like guitar. Like it was like just a guitar and like piano or something. Or like like rapping on YouTube instrumentals or something.
Yeah,
But I think there's a mix of like drum machine, live musicianship, and like digital production that I think my sound um has like crystallized for like what I'm putting out these days. Um and yeah, I think there's no limit to the ways you can reconfigure everything to make the sound that you want to hear. But for me, it's like I'll like start on an instrument, and then I'll like lay that down in a DAW, and then depending on if I feel like making the track myself or I want to bring in musicians or other producers, then we just follow the workflow where the creativity takes us.
yeah, for sure. Do you have a hand in like every piece of your music you're producing? Like you're always a part of that somewhere?
100%, 100%. Like most of most of, if not all, the tracks that are on the record I'm putting out is like, yeah, that's like me leading the production.
Okay, yeah. And you just dropped something recently. I believe it was you have Do You, I think it was your latest album, or is that a single?
I dropped a single called Do You this past Monday, so 2 days ago.
Okay.
And then I've got an album coming out end of April.
Okay, nice. Yeah, because the first one that was sent to me was I Can't Wait. So that's my introduction to your music. So I
Word.
started going through some stuff, and that's when I was like, okay, this is I can vibe with this. This is fun.
Dope. Dope, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So
Yeah, man.
so the album, like, is it gonna be like an EP, or you got a full like 12, 14 track set list type of thing?
Yeah, it's a full LP. It's my first time doing that, which is equal parts exciting, thrilling, and like terrifying for sure.
Hmm.
I'm really proud of that music, and literally years in the making. I can't wait to see what people think of it.
For sure. Are you a type of guy that likes to put a story together in a whole album? Like you got to listen from front to back, or is it just kind of each piece speaks their own?
Yeah, I think different projects call for a different depth to like storytelling like that.
Hmm.
But I will say that the having a clear concept for me really matters, especially with a longer body of work. And so for this album, I landed on the idea of what does it sound like if present day me was shooting hoops with younger me
Okay.
and they were in conversation. And
Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
yeah. So that's what, yeah, that like those thoughts and like those sounds are all present throughout the project.
Was there one track that was just like such a nightmare to finish and put together that to make it fit in there, or did they all flow really good?
Uh, I think what we landed on flows really well. Honestly, there was like a surplus of tracks. Like there
Okay.
was, yeah, I think more tracks didn't make it than made it.
Okay.
Which is like not the worst problem to have, I guess, but like it was hard trying to keep the like clarity of the idea the whole time because I'm just like, oh, this song like works energetically and sonically, it's a banger, but like, does it tell the story?
And then
And
you just
like,
got to pick your favorites, and then there's all kinds of stuff in there. Yeah,
yeah,
that would be
100%.
hard.
Yeah. It's, man, honestly, all the months leading up to finalizing the track list, I swear within the span of a day, the track list would change 3 times. Like,
Nice.
yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you've got a lot of singles that I've seen on like on Spotify and that, so you're definitely
Mhm.
pumping out lots of music, and
Mm,
it looks like there's going to be some fun stuff. And
word.
how is like we talked a bit about live shows, or how are your live shows? Are you getting a lot of stuff out there right now?
No, I mean, honestly, like I'm not focused on live shows at the moment. I played a bunch like through last year, like did like a little festival run out here on the West Coast.
Okay.
But my focus is actually like rolling out this project first before getting into the live production of it because there's some particular ways that I want to do a live show. Like I mentioned this whole idea of having a conversation with my younger self. Like instead of just throwing a concert, like I kind of want to do like a theater piece. Like
Okay.
what would like a theater piece with me exploring uh a conversation between present day me and younger me sound like if it was soundtracked by this album. Like I just want to change it up a little bit. Like I will play some shows, but like I'm more interested in that concept.
No, that actually sounds pretty sweet. You could do even just digital like video work and have stuff like that just for smaller. Like
100%.
in my mind, I'm thinking, oh man, you could do this and this and this and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I'm yeah, like it's there are things in the work that like serve that bigger concept. And I'm really excited to roll that all out.
Nice. I'm looking forward to hearing more and seeing more about that. And
Thanks,
I
man.
actually have a couple of my team from Hidden Beats out in the
Mm.
Vancouver area. We can probably send someone out to catch shows once you're up and
Yeah.
running with that.
No, that's dope.
Yeah,
That's
that'd be
super
sick.
dope. Yeah, man.
So I have a few questions I always like to ask people, and some fun ones because you're a hip hop guy. I need to know. Everyone has a top five. Like or like what's your Mount Rushmore of hip hop?
Oh man, every time.
Well, hey,
Um,
it's the classic
it's the
question, you
it's
know.
the question. It's the question. No, I feel you. I feel you. Um, I'm gonna give you how I approach this is my starting five,
Okay.
like my squad of people. I'm gonna go Jay-Z.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Common.
Yeah, that's definitely
I'm gonna
a
go
name up there.
Black Thought.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, I'm gonna go. Oh, I'm getting dicey. I'm gonna go J. Cole
Okay.
and Lauren Hill.
Okay. No, I like that list. That's a good list.
Yeah, that's like
It's
they all have influence on me in my life, and I'm just like, I would rock with that team.
yeah, and everyone's list is different. Like, so I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 30. I'm gonna be 39 this year. Jesus, dude.
Mm,
So I grew up a bit, you know, with some, you know, Bone Thugs, NWA, stuff like that. So
yes.
I rock a little bit more with that real old school, and then
Mm,
but then I definitely mess with Common. Like I right off the hop when I heard that, I was like, oh, when your music, I was like, Common, most of those guys, you know,
mm.
I was like, that's sick, and I like that type of that sound really.
Yeah, man, for sure. Like all that music that they put out that I was listening to, man, that's all in my music now. Like it's
Hmm.
just I can't separate it.
Yeah, no, that's a good list. I like that one. See, I don't
Yeah.
even know if I could put a top five together because I've gone through so many different
Eras,
kind of
bro.
generations of hip hop. It's hard to pick specifics out.
Yeah, man. You gotta do you know, sometimes I think of it like in like what is it, like 2K, like NBA 2K,
Yeah,
like how they do like the goats of the 60s and then the 70s and then the
yeah.
80s and the 90s. Like I'd be curious. I'd have to give that some more thought, but like I'd be curious to put together a list of like that.
It's like the all
Rush
star teams from each year type of thing.
100%. Yeah, the all
Yeah,
decade teams.
yeah.
Yeah.
On a flip side to that, is there some coming guys that you're looking at going like, damn, these guys are putting in some work?
Mm, yeah. Um, how do I wanna yeah. I mean, I'll start locally. I'll give flowers locally, man.
Okay,
Yeah, shout out to Tion Gibbs.
I've heard the
Um,
name actually.
yeah, Tion Gibbs is doing. I feel like he's just always working, putting out stuff, dropping new events and music. And also he started a record label too, which is really inspiring.
Okay,
Um, I think you know who there's a couple artists that I've been putting out stuff recently that I'm like, oh, you're keeping me on my toes. Which is Eben Empress and AK. I feel like they're both from out here, and I'm
okay.
just like, yeah, you make me you remind me why I fall in love with rap. Like that's what it is. It's like
Yeah, it
you're just
touches a
like,
bit more.
yeah, just like the lyricism, the wordplay, the energy, and like MC the MC part of being a, you know what I mean, like the like crowd rocking part of it.
Hmm.
Like that's I feel like that is underdeveloped sometimes, and I'm just like, you're doing it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, super dope. Who else do I like out here? Um, yeah, I think those three right now are the ones that like when they drop something, I'm like, whether it's just a snippet on Instagram or you know, a full song, it's inspiring to listen to.
yeah, they stand out just a little bit extra.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I'm definitely gonna look up some names there too, and I
Yeah,
always like to hear more about what everyone else is listening to because there's too
mhm.
much out there. I'll never be able to hear it all. So
For real. There's no shortage of dope music to listen to.
mhm. That actually leads me into my next question. What's something on your go-to playlist that people might not know that you're listening to? They might not expect it.
Ooh, that's a good question. Ooh.
I call this the guilty pleasure question almost because it's one of those ones you might not throw out there publicly as much, and it's fun just to have.
Oh man, that's a good question. My I don't even know if it's I don't even feel guilty listening to it. It's just like maybe it's just like a plot twist that people won't expect.
Mm-hmm.
But Chuck Mangioni's Feel So Good.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Like that maybe. Um I don't know, is like Careless Whisper like a guilty pleasure? Like I don't even feel guilty listening to that.
Well, it's not even as guilty. It's just that one of those ones that you're like you just vibe to, but people, it's not something you're vibing to with your boys as much.
Yeah.
It's just something you put on the headphones while you're doing something or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like you know what I think what it is sometimes is um like even songs that maybe people might not assume or like guess that I like, there's always something to learn from it. Like there's always something to learn and just enjoy sometimes as a fan from it. And I feel like those two songs are like I will go to regularly to listen to.
No, they're good ones. I like those. I think I actually have them on one of my playlists, if I'm not mistaken. I'm the type
That's
of guy who I can jam with anything. Like I have playlists for classical stuff and just I got a straight violin playlist just for
mm,
some vibes when I'm sitting there just wanting that tune.
yeah.
And like I look at you wouldn't look at me like I'm crazy fluent with the hip hop scene and everything like that. But my
Mm,
guilty pleasure song when I just some fun is like Nicki Minaj Super Bass. I
mm,
put that on and I'm just like, yeah, this is I could just have fun with that and I could flow through the whole song myself too.
that's dope.
Yeah.
Super
But then
dope.
I've also got stuff like John Williams is the classical composer for all the movies, and I love to just put those on too.
Yeah. Oh man, that's epic. That's
Hmm.
incredible musicianship. Like
Yeah, there's
yeah.
there's some good stuff there.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of interviews, you've watched a lot of different things, different people. What's
Mm.
one thing that you think should be asked more in an interview that's not asked enough? Could be with you, could be with someone
Oh.
else. Maybe you want to know a little bit more about, what that artist is doing for something different.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Um, I think hmm, I'd be curious to know if there's a moment in an artist's life where they were like they experienced it and they went, I'm gonna be an artist." Like
Okay.
if there was like a turning point or like a pivotal moment, experience or a choice or something someone said to them where they were like, "No, I'm gonna go in on this." Because I feel like and I've been there myself, but and I think so many people are like, you know what, I could follow my dreams. Like I
Hmm.
could like follow that thing that I know I want to do, but I'm still not doing it for some reason. Like I'm always curious about what that pivotal like moment is. And I'd love to hear what people say about that for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one. I draw that out a few times, and
Mm.
one stands out in my mind of someone I did an interview with recently that they were super into music, but then started going down like the lawyer career, things like that, because the family wanted them to.
Mhm.
And then I think it was like a grandmother or something passed away, and it was like, why am I waiting? And why am I not doing what I love? And just kind of turned it into that right away.
No, for sure, man. I feel like I feel like confronting or experiencing conversations around mortality even like
Hmm.
I feel like that for me I have my own experiences with that topic and I feel like it's those existential questions like it's like what am I doing isn't surface level, it's like the as core as it gets. I feel like the deepest answers come from those questions.
And funny enough, that leads me into my next one then.
Mm.
why do you keep doing music? What
Mm.
motivates you to keep going?
Hmm. I think there's two pieces to it. One is I truly feel like I'm living in my purpose and doing what I'm supposed to be doing while I'm on this planet. When I'm in music, whether I'm uh sharing my pieces and my story and my expression through it, or helping someone else do it, like I think that's like where I feel the most in the zone. And then the second level is, or the second piece is, when I'm just curious about what else I could make. Like
Okay.
what other music can come out of this body and out of this vessel. Like when it's not even as serious as like my purpose and my direction in life, it's just like fun and curiosity and like play and joy. Um that's what keeps me going, because I'm like, oh, I made that. Like what else could I make?
Test your
And
limits almost.
100%.
Yeah.
And so far, like I haven't wanted to stop, and like I'm just getting started of scratching what the next limit is, and then I just want to keep breaking through it.
Nice. No, I like that answer. That's a good one.
Mm.
Would
Thank you.
do you have any advice that you might give to artists coming up in the world now, and kind of a direction that might help them go if they're struggling for anything?
Mm. Mm. Maybe maybe follow the feeling, and maybe
Okay.
that's like similar to like trust your gut.
Yeah.
So I think whether it's artistically, personally, professionally, your your body reacts to any circumstance. And when something feels off, like trust it and don't let anyone tell you like that actually it's not off. Like usually your body is trying to tell you something, you got to tune into it and listen. But also the flip side of that is follow when it feels good. Like if you're making a thing and you're making this creative choice and it feels good to make that creative choice, follow that thread rather than someone else like telling you what you should be doing or what would sound better, quote unquote. Um that's how I that's how I've gotten to where I am so far, like creatively and professionally, and hope I'll keep going in this direction, is just like following my intuition and following my gut when it feels good.
Nice. I think that's a good thought for everyone to have. Trust yourself and feel good with what you're doing for sure.
100%. That's right.
Well, man, that's all I wrote down for my notes here, unless I'm missing something here. Um, Want to give a last piece of advice or like
Mm.
shout outs to anybody before we sign off?
Yeah. I think maybe just a last piece of advice, or like a word, some words that I can share, is like try to remember why you fell in love with music in the first place.
Hmm.
When it gets hard, or when other people are trying to tell you something different and you're like, I don't like that, I don't agree with that, or whatever, in your music career, like it at the end of the day, as an artist, what you're putting out is yours, especially as an independent artist. You don't really have to answer to anybody else. Like there's no contract telling you to release something by a certain time.
Yeah, exactly.
um like I think remembering why you went down this path in the first place, and remembering that you have agency in all your decisions. That's
Okay,
like
yeah.
the one thing that I'll leave with people.
I think that's a good one. Yeah,
Thanks,
for
man.
sure. I mean, so like I said, that's all I wrote down. It's great. I had a great time talking with you, and I'm sure we're gonna
Thanks,
get
though.
to do this again because there's always little tidbits of information out there, or we could pick each other's brains on hip hop ideas, things like that, and
Hmm.
all the new drama that's always happening.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, we'll sign off for now, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the new album when it comes out and listening to everything. And we're gonna link everything down in the description so people can find you, like and
Oh,
share and all that stuff.
thank you, Tom. I appreciate that, man.
Well, you enjoy the rest of your, I guess, evening now. Jeez, I don't even know what time it is here.
Yeah, man. You too. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Oh yeah, it's 7 o'clock. Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right, man. Have a good one.
Okay, peace.
Bye.